3, 2, 1. Yo, what's poppin'? It says Torn.
Yes, sir. You know what time it is. I'm the voice of the South, Q Smitty. Polar Jocks right here, man. The icebreakers giving you that cool rush. Before we get started, listen, it doesn't cost nothing for you to hit that like button. So be sure to hit that like button, comment down below, subscribe, tell the rest of the world about icebreakers because, hey, I was at the Jamaica restaurant the other day, man. Yo, buddy said, like, he really watched our talk show and shit,
that's
man.
what's up, bro.
Man, so we got another person on the icebreakers letting us know, appreciate the love, man. Shout out to the travelers out there, transportation workers, military veterans. We salute the troops. Now we're about to get to the episode. We got a special guest in the building,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Hi, Mr. Boys, Torn, one half of Polar Jocks. Guess what, man? You need to pull up at the Dacker bars. No cover charge. And guess what? You got to be 21 to enter. You got to. The World's Games is here. So you trying to pregame. Birmingham Dacker bar where you need to come to. You trying to wind down. This is a spot you need to come to. Or trying to move around a certain way. You don't want too many people in your business. The Birmingham Dacker bar where you need to come to, man. 324 9th Street North. And also, don't forget, Sunday through Thursday, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. It's Polar Jocks. Now back to the show.
Man, this dude is like real life Drake. I'm not talking about the rapper, but from that video game called Uncharted.
Yeah.
This dude really be on some Uncharted treasure hunting type shit, man.
Yeah.
All over the place, man. He is on boss status mode right now, man. And that's all we've been dealing with lately because that's the type of time we on right now, man. This dude right here, he is the founder and CEO of the one and only Iris Society, Regenerate Society right there, man. Be sure to check them out. They're out in the city doing some very great regenerating in the city. And he's also an artist, man, very talented artist, not some regular rapper who's just saying some words just to be able to call himself a rapper. He actually paints a vivid picture. And he has a trumpet in the background when he does this.
You heard me.
He represents the 256 too.
Serious with it.
I'm the 256 too. So hey, we produce greatness, ladies and gentlemen. Man, I gotta bring out my boy Wescam.
Yo, man.
Yo, what's going on, fellas? What's the word?
Clap it up.
What's the deal, man? Gotta bring that energy.
It's good stuff.
Wescam in the building, man.
Oh shoot, I gotta sit up straight now.
Yeah.
Wescam in the building.
That's a tough intro, man. That's a tough intro, man. What's good, fellas?
Man, nothing much, man. You know,
Appreciate
we
you.
moving, man.
Nah,
Life is
I
great.
appreciate that.
You know,
Ooh.
life is great. No matter how you look at it, it's great.
I can live with that.
Yeah.
Hey man, y'all got me here, man. What's the word, man?
Man, listen, I gotta.
What's the word?
I just gotta ask, man. Like, where did all of this energy come from for you to just create so much of it? Because you're not from Birmingham, so you've planted your seed in Birmingham so well to where like you've created a movement in the city that is good for young generation of people. You know, I feel like that Irish Society. What is that?
Man, it is the product child of a lot of nights watching pro wrestling when my mom was asleep, right? And you combine all of that with, and where do I even start really with it? I've always seen like I maybe had one gift, right? I may not be the best at anything specifically. For me at the time, growing up in high school, it was like basketball, loved hooping. Like, yo, you get me on the court, I'm a problem, right? But at the time, it wasn't really translating very well. And my coach had kind of like a thing that he was looking for very specifically. And so I was like, yo, I'm the only one at 6 a.m., right? Because we can talk about hard work. Like, we can do that, right? Like, we've had that conversation. But 6 a.m., I'm the only one, right? Getting myself to school, in the gym, getting up these shots, working on everything. They wanted me to be a 6'3" center. That wasn't going to happen in D1, right? So, you know, you combine all of just the work ethic every single day to be the most versatile thing I can be. And my coach one day said, you know, sit here, son. And I was like, oh, here we go.
One of them sit down moments.
One of them sit down moments, right? I'm like, yo, like, let's have a real conversation. Like, why am I not allowed to do more with my skill set? And he just said, look, I'm going to be completely honest with you. You are good at a bunch of things, but not great at one. And I said, so, all right.
Dang.
That's
kind of cold, right?
Yeah,
Jack of all trades, master of none type shit.
I said, yo, you op, bet, and just watch what I do.
Yeah.
And like, it was a good season and everything, but it still stuck with me because even after that, moving into whatever my next phases in life were going to be, it was going to be like, man, like, okay, so I'm not playing ball now. I'm not going D1. What do I do? And I found rap. ironically, but I also was, because I was, like I said, only child trying to learn just
Trying to
different
learn the
things.
ropes.
I was open to everything. So like I had my hand in photography, had my hand in graphic design, had my hand in everything. Same conversation. Was good at everything, but not great at one thing. And so the only thing I could look back at and think of, okay, when it turns to like being great, right? Only thing I was great at on the court was probably being the best teammate I could possibly be, right? Being the first one to help everybody up, encouraging people, making sure they don't quit the team, little stuff like that, right? And I tried to say, okay, cool, if I'm not great at one thing here, then how do I take this skill set and turn it into something different? So I see individuals who are great at what they do. Me, it may be music, media. You give me a microphone, I'm gonna figure out what to do with it, right? But for other people, it's like, I got, especially in Huntsville at the time, and then I moved down here just because of school. I'm seeing some of the most beautiful pictures I've ever seen taken, right? I'm seeing people who are getting interviews from Google and, Apple without having a degree, and still don't have a degree, making six figures. Like people who are putting messages and storylines on T-shirts and graphics and
making
trying to
plenty
change
of
the
money.
world. I'm trying to
Huntsville's
say, right?
the Silicon Valley of the South.
plenty of
It is,
money, yeah.
it's insane. But it was even still, like I say, when I transferred here to Birmingham, where I'm seeing it too, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is the time to where I can use that same skill set. And instead of all of us trying to figure it out on our own, we come together and really kind of do what we do. So the Regenerate Society is birthed from wrestling. And why I say that is because D-Generation X, right? Like growing up in the 90s, like the crotch chops, the suckets, all of that. Like that was
I was a Kane guy, but
you know,
okay.
I feel
go
you.
ahead.
No, I feel you. And me too.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
the thing that really stuck with me is the fact of they're fighting for their jobs, going head to head every Monday night. And the only reason that comes about is so that they can be the loudest, the most aggressive, get the most amount of ratings, get the most amount of attention, and it worked. Because you go from just having 5 minutes by yourself to now, just because you created something bigger than you in a team-like setting, now I'm seeing the same faces 5 times during a 2-hour show. Like the name becomes bigger than just the individual. And so if they could do all that by cursing and cross chopping and doing all the rest and being the most outlandish they could possibly be, and it worked, what if we did that for the community and creatively as well for each other? Like what if we, instead of degenerating, regenerate and just flip that for society instead? So, I got all those talented faces I saw came together, and we formed the Regenerate Society in 2017.
So what's your main focus with the society? Like what do you want to see out of it?
Yeah, it's
That make to make
Because
an
now
impact,
you're a master of something.
to make an impact on people.
shoot, man, I push myself every day to be more of that. It started in a different way. It started just creatively at first, right? To where it was just, actually it started as a record label in my head. I just knew it was gonna be a record label. Like you'll go back and hear mixtapes where I say it and I still don't really know where it was.
Right.
So even when we came together, we didn't really know what we were gonna be. Like our focus was just helping each other grow and be and become what we can. And in that first meeting, God said, hey, I need y'all to do something a little bigger. And it became a nonprofit organization to where we wanted to put these skill sets back in the community. But to answer your question, we still didn't have a goal. Like it was more so just, we gonna do some of the coolest and most out of the box type ideas that nobody's ever seen before, right? And over time, we had just like younger individuals like gravitate to that. Like,
How were you able to do that?
Yeah.
Get younger people to gravitate towards it? Because it's like, it's kind of hard to get younger groups of people to really be interested in societies, outside of, Divine Nine fraternities, sororities, who got that image that you can put on social media and it's going to get thousands of likes and stuff like that. How were you able to just gather so many people like that?
it was almost organic. Like I can't really say to this day, like the generic answer would be just God himself, right? But like ideally, we were doing different types of activities, and it's sometimes in your roster, right? Like we use terminology because we're athletic based now. Like, we kind of do in some ways and form, but we use the term like roster to say when you have like the Clippers, for example, where you got all these names on it, people gonna come see that. So at the time, it was like me, Nehemiah Horace, Abigail Little, who got married now, so shout out to her. Like bigger names in other organizations and clubs coming together to where we already kind of had certain levels of pulls. And so you combine that with like a Breonna Perryman or a Shalika Lassiter, folks who are in the creative communities who are doing such great things that were already getting traction traffic and followed for like BSAC events on campus, or just cool, like Shalika was doing some of the craziest kind of like creative link ups and performances and mixers together, right, in her series. So people were already knowing who we were individually. We just came together, and so naturally it was kind of like, oh, people get a chance to kind
That
of
collaboration
see. It was the
caused
collaboration.
that success.
It was like the Avengers coming together.
So
Right?
how do you create a nonprofit?
Ooh, I'm still asking myself that sometimes.
Like,
um,
you hear so many
yeah.
stories coming from different angles. You really like, just get a real genuine answer. Like,
Yeah.
what is the steps? What are the steps to create a nonprofit?
yeah. So, if I were to start as an old man now, which is why I have a hat, because I've lost a lot of hair in this process.
hair.
Man, you young as hell, man. Don't come here with all
dad
that.
hat.
Man, you know what I'm saying? But it's a solid dad hat.
I love the dad hat swag, man. Dad shoes,
Oh my gosh,
New Balances. I was wearing New Balance before it became cool, man.
it's so comfortable.
Like,
Yeah.
It's
I
so
love New
comfortable.
Balances, bro.
And the funny thing is, it's so cool to be comfortable now.
What?
Yeah,
It
now that
wasn't
we're
that way-
older,
it
you know
wasn't
what
that
I'm
way at
saying?
first,
Like,
right?
Nah, you go spend $150 on the outfit just for that one
you
night.
just got paid that day.
I'm telling you, you spend your whole check on it.
Whole check.
I
gone.
done that, dog. Like
I was only making
For real?
like $100
era.
a month.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Fashion was serious back then, bro.
It
Like,
was.
Like,
That shit
the
was
white
serious.
tees was serious. You
Yeah.
talking about like the early 2000s, or you talking about like during college times?
Nah, like I say not college.
'Cause
time.
college, I was
High
thrift
school.
store
Yeah,
dripping.
yeah. I was swagged out in thrift stores, but high school, like say for example, you buy a race car jacket.
Yeah.
It may last for that semester or that
Yeah.
year.
Oh,
that
yeah.
next following year, it's out of style.
You talking about Manhattan? And them
Yeah,
days
like the
when you
race
used to go
car
in there and
jackets
shop.
was, man, people spend like $400-500. That was a lot of money on a jacket back then.
I
That's
miss
a
them
lot of money
NASCAR
now.
jackets.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, yeah, people used to go in on fashion, but now, hell, a trend won't last no more than 5 months, 4 months, bro. So you
See,
know,
that was the funny thing about having a mama who wasn't gonna buy you everything you wanted.
Yeah.
Because she just bought you what you need, and it's so crazy because I was always growing up under the wording that everything comes back in time. Like it's
a
real.
recycle.
It's real. Oh my gosh,
Really
it's so,
is.
it's
It's
so
true.
cyclical. So like now, I have clothes in high school that have come back around and been,
Yeah,
you know, and
it's
I
in
can
tr-
fit
it's
them.
trending now.
It's trending again.
yeah.
It's
So
true to
it's
get,
just like,
and your logo kind of represents the recycle
Hey,
type
man.
vibe.
it's
you know?
what we do, man. This is what we do, man. And that's funny you say that. So to answer your question as well too, though, because I don't want to deviate too much there. At the time, we really didn't know what we were doing. We just had good mentors that kind of put us in position. So the first thing we had to figure out is what we wanted to be. Now, because you said that, right? Divine Nine organizations, we thought we were more going to be similar to that in a way. So like we incorporated, which is different, and it comes with a whole different set of kind of bylaws and rules. Then after that, like you can register as a nonprofit incorporation, but you still got to go through the process of taxes and like getting, you know, your 501c3 certification, which is allowing you to be a non-taxable entity, and you operate under different IRS governmental rules. So
how does that work?
it is
Because I know a lot of people. Some people create nonprofits to make money. I don't know how the hell that works. 'Cause like I said,
does.
I'm not.
It
you know,
does.
it produces probably a lot of money, but
That
the
makes
process of it,
no, it does.
You know,
It does.
it would come from a lot of sponsorships or what?
United Way is one of the largest nonprofits, and salaries are out the yin yang. Like, don't get it twisted. These nonprofits make good money, but in theory, when you have something that has the impact that large,
Yeah.
it makes sense, right? Just like with any business, right? If you have a scalable business that, you know, your United Way serves people around the globe, I could see their CEO making six figures very easy. You know what I'm saying?
A month or a year?
Oh my gosh, probably they're looking.
I
at
say
maybe,
about a month, probably
I think they're 7-figure yearly.
yearly. Okay.
So
But the customer base is free. You know what I'm saying? So is it more like that's where the collaboration also comes in too, to really pretty much circulate the money around to where you can get
Yeah.
it pumped up and get the brand how you want it to be.
it's you combine two different like schools of thought. I'm a school of thought guy. So even still, like we're learning so much in the idea of, because let's say it's a business, you still in theory as a nonprofit can have a sellable product. Like that's still real. Only difference is your product may be more of a program. There
But you still can sell it.
But you can sell it. Like there are schools that will pay for you to come in and teach, right? There are schools like, oh my gosh, the Flourish, Alabama, right there in Inslee. If y'all, that's the next person to set up a conversation with. Like Jamon and them have that built up to where like Birmingham City Schools, if you're doing right, will pay you to come in and teach their students. right? Like with different programs, or it can be a different avenue, right? Like we're still talking about nonprofits being also churches as well. And one of the biggest Burger Kings, I mean, Church of the Highlands, right? That is popping up everywhere. Everywhere.
A nonprofit.
Yeah. There's a Church of the Highlands almost everywhere.
That's
like,
why I
for
said
real.
Burger King, man. This was funny. I'd be like, oh, that's my glitch. Sorry, haha. No, it's real.
Yeah.
Like, so these entities can make money, right? And to kind of process that, even we're still trying to figure out how all that operates, because we came together thinking, oh, we have to super budget this whole thing out, but it's the exact opposite. Like, and this is just kind of like free game there. Like most businesses, let's say, for example, you're talking to your regions, you're talking to your, larger banks and people who, like you said, sponsorships, right? They will look at that, and depending on how big your budget is, pass you to a side. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, if you're asking for all this money, it's easier for some corporations to give millions and thousands than it is like hundreds and tens. Like, for what? That's not even going to do anything for us. So, and on top of it, depending on how big your operating budget is, I can see how sustainable you're going to be. Which is a word that I never thought of. It's like, oh, if y'all don't even pay y'all people, y'all not gonna be around that long anyway. Why would I give you this sum of money? Grants, look at that.
Is it true that I heard from a public speaker? He was like, if you don't have money, don't create a nonprofit. Only create a nonprofit if you have money to spend.
Man, look.
Is that true?
If I could do it all over again, I even tell my team this, right? Like, I'm like, yo, I don't think I was ready to start this at 23 years old.
Yeah.
Not to the scale and vision I knew I wanted it to be.
Yeah, you jumped off the porch early.
Well, I was outside, and we were outside, and it was cool, but it's
big risk.
It's a big risk. Like, people hear the word nonprofit and think, oh, I'm finna go do some great impact. But like you said, it doesn't. They don't calculate the risk of what it takes of all the days where you are not making money and still have to show up and still serve and still do all these, and now you're getting payroll. Like, for us, it's cool because I've had so many like people come through RS that just love the vision of what it is, and I've been so fortunate for that, right? People who were like, yo, I'll get off my 8 to 5 and come here and help build and scale what y'all have going on, because you don't have to. Like, I get off work and don't want to do work. Like, so for someone else to spend that time who's qualified enough to put that time and energy in something else, like, now you have to think about, okay, how do I get more money in your pocket? What position do I need to put you in? And where do I need to be to make sure that I can make this time equitable for you, and keep you here, more importantly? Because if they're doing a great job, y'all know how it go, man. Like, y'all not going to do this same work over and over and over,
right,
when you could be making other money, right? So there's still ways where you just have to kind of figure out, like, how strategically can we put ourselves in position to get money, whether it be through sponsorships, grants, or even just having a sellable product that you can put yourself in position to make income with. That, in theory, does have to go back to your business. So, yeah.
So, like, connection-wise, like, how do you get people to, what is that conversation like? Like, just talking to somebody like, hey, like, I want you to be a part of my society. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think this shit would be cool for us to be out here in the community doing this, that, and the third, and we all having fun with it. Like, like, what's those conversations like?
It's harder with, and circling back just a little bit, because I'm going to get to that, because I got to answer your question and where we even started here. Because we did not think we would have other individuals following us, we ended up having to transition into a program where we started accepting members, right? Because we knew not everybody's going to want to do tech. Not everybody's going to want to do rap. Not everybody's going to want to do this specific niche. So how do we create lanes that allow newer individuals, like what we're getting now, like people who want to volunteer and support and rep the brand and do what we do? How do we keep them circulating to where this can still be sustainable? And so now it goes into what you're saying of, with the older group, it's honestly not really as hard, because most of them who see what we do, they either already kind of want to do it or they don't. They're like, yo, I love what you got going on.
Like the late millennials, like our generation and stuff.
Yeah. Like my leadership staff, they kind of just were like, yo, they almost found me in certain ways.
Like the late millennials, like we're that generation that had like our head on our shoulders for real. Like we're like the middle age that allowed that medium to be put there.
Gap.
We filled that gap, and we have a mindset of understanding like where we came from. Like some of us came from poverty in a way where it impacted us to where we don't want to live like that. You know what I'm saying? We want better for our families. I feel like we don't get that recognition for that, for being that gap that bridge between the gap. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the Generation Z, if they kind of pay attention more to the previous generation like us, a little bit more, I feel like they would realize like we are the ones who are non-judgmental. We're not the ones who like to judge the younger kids the way our parents and grandparents used to be. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have that same mentalities, but what we can do is come together and try to create something better. Yeah. So like when I look at it like that, like, do you feel like the people that you bring on board can resonate with that?
No, because they're still outside most of the time, right? And when I say that, the older ones, yes, naturally, but we're always going to brag on ourselves, right? Like, we know the generation. We know the cloth we cut from, right? We are products of our grandmother's prayers. Like, that's us. This younger generation a little different. This younger generation, like, and you'll see it. And it's so funny because I have conversations with people across the board, like even in D9 spaces a lot of time, right? This younger generation has grown up seeing everything that they've ever wanted in front of them on the phone. And so their relation to it is a lot different.
And they think it's so easy to get.
Oh, it is. To them it is.
Yeah.
Like to them in a lot of ways.
In their mindset, they
it
really
is.
Do think that.
I've prepared for this. I know what y'all have to offer. I know X, Y, and Z. So there's a book I'm reading about Nick Saban, right? And to answer your question, it's recruiting, right? He says, look, I may be a half decent coach, but I'm a damn good recruiter. And to be honest, when you look at their program, it's what it is, right?
That's what it is.
We always talk about it. Alabama gets the absolute best athletes. And everything from top down when you step foot on the University of Alabama and Tuscaloosa's campus, especially their football-related entities, Nick Saban has tooled it to where it's recruiting-based. So that's the hardest part a lot of times because our program focuses on 17 to 24-year-olds right now. So 17 to 24-year-old is a wide age. The older ones, a little easier to talk to. The younger ones, they see everything else. And I've always felt like...
But you've captured young ones too. Like, because you got some on your team that's like 20 right now.
But
you know what I'm saying?
It ain't easy though. And the reason why I say that is because I think, we're a Christian-based org. So like we always teach it. And I've always taught this. It's like medicine. It's like if I tell you how much healthier this food is than what your taste buds work for, it's hard for me to sell you on actually changing that lifestyle, right? So you see other entities, you see other organizations, you see much, as I say, the shinier objects. And so now we're competing with that to say, hey, look, this can be something that changes your life if you just trust us to come into this program. But at the same time, like, once again, I've seen everything I've ever wanted to see. Most of the time I can connect with something else that looks like something I want to be more a part of. So now I'm competing with that. I'm competing for your interest. I'm competing for your time. I'm competing for your energy. And until the program is where I would like to take it and want it to be, I can't put money in your pocket to also deviate your attention either. So now I'm also competing with you wanting to survive for yourself and put money in your own pocket to make sure that that little, studio apartment that we pay $1,000 for nowadays, you can keep that on top of doing school or whatever else you want to do. It's hard to compete with that.
How many people are you do you have on staff? Like, how many people are you paying?
Currently, no, we're not paying anybody right now. That's why I say it's only God.
Okay.
Like, that they...
Because you got a team, like...
Yeah. I got a roster.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, is you paying these people? They gotta believe in this.
They really believe in, like, so you were able to bring these people together, like, and keep them intact to where, like, they have positions in this society. You know what I'm saying? To where, like, they're executing all types of different things in the community to restore the community in a great way. So, like,
we just had 3 directors extend. That's what we say because sports based. But yeah, we just had 3 directors extend their own contracts. Yeah.
Do you feel like doing stuff like that puts you on the same realm as like our Black history figures like Malcolm X and all of them? Because we look at Malcolm X and all of them as these civil rights activists who did some great things. They're Black history figures. Yeah. But it's like we stopped after they passed away.
Yeah. It ain't nobody really kind of stepped up and filled that that void that was missing, that they left.
I'm going to ask y'all a question. Why would they? What is there to stop?
What is there to stop as far as, looking at somebody as a Black history figure?
Like, you named the figures that y'all named, right? And I'm just asking.
I feel like they were fed to us.
Okay. Fed us. I mean, think about also what was going on during that time, right?
But they also had the fuel because they stuck together as people. Now, if one of us say a leader, I just say Eric Thomas.
Okay.
If he really just broke the mold, like far as like transitioning, like just start standing up for us and like kind of transition from public speaking, I don't think he'll get that much backing.
Right.
Not strong enough.
Right.
So that's why it may, ain't no leaders like, I ain't doing that shit. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna empower you, and I'm gonna motivate you, and I'm gonna help you get to the next level. But I ain't finna stick my neck out there because I know y'all ass ain't finna support me and back me up.
And the 50-50 on that,
like they did in the 70s and 80s,
which is hilarious, and we talk about it all the time. It's the same conversation we just had about RS in the same ways. I don't have to agree because I can find something that I do agree with more. Like now, like you think about those time frames and eras, like let's say, for example, if you had Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. or Fred Shuttlesworth, right? Two completely different cities. One of them was traveling absolutely everywhere. Fred Shuttlesworth was holding it down here for the city of Birmingham, right? Like literally, and even the documentary, which is an amazing documentary, if y'all get a chance. Shuttlesworth is great. Y'all should watch it.
I'm gonna check it out.
Oh my gosh. APT did it. Shout out to T. Marie King, Eric Essex, Alabama Jazz Hall of Fame. I could go on and on and on about it. But Shuttlesworth is a great example of somebody who had Dr. King's ear here, but sometimes it's just how loud is your voice, right? Not saying that I disagree with anything that he was saying, but it's more so saying that because information is not moving as fast as it does now, even if I may disagree, you have more bodies of people that can listen to that one voice during that period of time. Now, if I disagree with you, but I agree with him, I can easily just go to his page or I can easily see content from him because I'm already probably plugged into social media like that to where even if I had an inkling of I disagree, now I don't have a body of people that I feel like I'm the outcast standing away from. I have a select group of individuals where I can say, you know what, I don't agree with you, but I do agree with him and I'm gonna roll with him. So yeah, now it's so much easier for an Eric Thomas who, like, growing up, I feel like we kind of saw him in his run, especially like in the Facebook movement era.
On the come up.
Oh man, like bro,
we literally seeing him from the ground up.
His videos was like mixtapes dropping at one point. Like, it was crazy, right? Like we saw it. He's a dime a dozen now. I'm not saying that he's not special.
For sure.
What I am saying is that even if I'm just younger and I'm like, maybe I like what he's talking about, I swipe up and see somebody who I probably relate to a little more. And now that maybe have pulled something from who automatically just kind of because of the numbers game would have followed him. So
do you think it's more important to be hands-on than social media? Because social media is so, I don't want to say overrated, but in a way it is overrated. Because now trying to blow up on social media, you gotta come with some heat. You gotta come with some real shit, man.
Yeah, you really do, man.
So you gotta
wear the nicest clothes you can. You gotta be fly. You gotta have the content. You gotta have the lights. All of that. So man.
Do you think you have to touch the people as well?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like I think now it's so much different because I'll take it back.
Because social media just by itself ain't gonna do it.
It's not
nowadays,
And for me, I'm always thinking out of the box in terms of, like, let's say, for example, if something's swinging one way, I'm trying to look at what is coming the opposite direction, right? And so once social media started booming, we tried to figure out how we can be more outside, right? How we can be just more present in front of people. Because if I look at it in the rap space, right, I can do everything on social media that I wanted to do. You still got to see me and rap with me. Like, you still have to come to this concert and feel it, which is going to be a little bit different. And a lot of times, a lot of people kind of feel and connect to the story a little bit more, which kind of says, hey, I will increase the followers. I want to come see more of what you got going on. I want to come feel what you more got, or what more you have kind of going on in your own space. So yeah, being outside is huge because at the same time, because, and I'm gonna use it as like college, right? College is kind of like that, to where when you go on campus, it's weird how people react to you when you connect with them in person.
Oh,
like
man,
naturally friendships gravitate, like that still happens, but it's weird because it's almost like what used to be like, oh, this is something in the know, let's go check it out. Now it's like, who are you and why? But I appreciate your hustle, so let's figure it out. Like, I may be more apt to actually check it out because you told me about it, not because I just saw it on your page.
Right. So how do you pull people, in your opinion, how do you pull people from social media to real life? Because following in a support system is totally different.
Yeah, it is.
I can have 50,000 likes, maybe 1.1 million followers, but only 30 people show up to my events.
Facts.
So now it's just illusion. And the reason I asked you that, because you was able to pull these people together
in real life.
In real life. Not social media.
In real life.
Because your social media presence is good, but far as the impact you have in real life, it don't compare against social media. So it's the way you did. It's a strategy you did. I don't know what you did. People would love to know.
Do you personally like talk to these people and ask them about their story? Like, what's your story? You know,
I'm the recruiter.
Is it the story that they tell you about their life that really connects you with them?
Absolutely. It's. I feel like when you have a product that's undeniable, it's undeniable. Right. So I'm not even just bragging on what we do like that. What I am saying is that certain things, no matter who I talk to, connect no matter what it is. Now, whether you stay or you kind of do something different, that's on you, right? Like, that's cool. Like, I kind of hope you end up going somewhere in a different direction. But it ends up being, when I'm talking to, let's say, for example, a freshman who's coming into school, like, I've always, if there's one thing about me, I may remember every other detail except your major. I will never probably remember your major.
The college campuses are pretty much the breeding ground.
It's a good breeding ground. They have stability.
Because somebody in college could be coming from the hood too. You know what I'm saying? Because we go to school with people from all walks of life, but college is sort of like that safety net for them, where you can actually put them in an environment where you can talk to them outside of their normal environment. So do you feel like that is probably what it is?
Man, even just outside of that, like I even talk to parents, same conversation, right? To where it's like, look, and the only reason I say I'm not gonna remember your major is because, like, for me, I graduated with a degree of biology, and I tell people very straight up, ask me how many times I've ever used it. Never. So I know naturally that there's probably something that your son or your daughter or you have something going on that you're going to talk about before you talk about what your day job is. Right? Like, if I were to ask y'all what y'all do, now some of y'all, right, like you guys, for example, do what y'all naturally do. So you may actually put it out there. But I've even had parents who will tell me that, oh, like, I'm a musician or I'm an artist. But I'm like, okay, well, cool. Do you do that full time? They're like, no, I do like accounting or something, right? Their sons or daughters are the same way. So for me, to answer your question, I'm always trying to get to the point of who they really are. Like, I can ask you about your major, but if I know, let's say, for example, we got a kid, now who does communications, but she's much more interested in public health. She's much more interested in, like, going out and studying sexually transmitted diseases, right? And trying to find cures for that. So why would I talk to her about communications? Unless she brings that to me and it's like, hey, I actually am interested in that. And she is, but at the same time, it's a great example of, I may know you for what you really want to do, so that's who I'm going to talk to. So when I'm talking to you, and it can be college, it can be outside of college, because we don't just take college kids. Like, we take anybody, anyone who is 17 and 24. You can just be you. So I'm trying to figure out, what do you naturally want to do in life, and is there a lane or a plane where we can excel that for you? That's always my who do you want to be? Because if you ask me, I'm gonna tell you, yo, I'm an artist, I'm an entertainer. You give me a mic, I'm gonna figure it out, and that has nothing to do with my degree, ever.
And so you put somebody like yourself in a position to where they can flourish in their art and their talent.
You got it. Or, like, for what we do now, learn more about how to do it. Like, sometimes, like, for me, going into my story a little bit, I never knew I really wanted to do rap until someone gave me an opportunity. Right? Like, I did 2 years of community college coming out of, my high school. Shout out to Sparkman, because, Q6 is what we do. But I did 2 years of community college, and it's only because my older brother, Tim Pringle, had and Big Brothers Big Sisters as well, so he was a mentor, right? Because once again, an only child, that's what I did, sit at home. But I had time to try something. I thought I could be good at music. I didn't think I'd ever get where I'm at now. I just saw all my homeboys do it, and they were talking about nothing. And I was like, yo, I feel like I got some good stories here. Let me try it. So we put them in positions to do the same thing. And what it did for me is someone gave me another microphone because I was willing to try. So when you say, how do you get people outside? You just start, right? Like, I don't meet y'all unless I'm outside. I don't go anywhere unless I actually go outside. I can see y'all on social media, and I can, like, shoot you a DM, and that's cool. But you know what eventually I have to do?
See you outside.
So you kind of just have to do it. And, like, for me, it was kind of a train of, okay, let's try this one show. This one show got me this opportunity. This opportunity connected me with this person. And we're trying to do the same thing with someone else. To where it's like, let's say, for example, if you're in activism, this year we're focusing on city council. right? And actually getting a chance to kind of like talk and have good conversation and teach people why that's important. So I'm not saying I need you to be a city councilor, but if you're interested in activism, you know what that does do? It starts you on the process of, like, for me, I had in college, I had no idea who our mayoral candidates were because I'm from Huntsville. I don't care really, but I had to create a program and a project to where the goal was to be able to work for a specific like goal, right? Like an achievement. So I was like, yo, hey, well, people need to know about voters' rights. So I started trying to figure out what that means, and I started understanding like, dag, there's so much more of this campus that has no idea that we have 2 mayoral candidates coming to talk about why this is important, and y'all live in this city. So it's putting them in positions to where, even though, I don't like politics ain't my thing, it gives me a start to figure out what is. Same way it works for music, same way it works for anything else, just providing you a platform to try and give you a starting place. Like, creative arts may be focused on photography, but it teaches you how people start to look at their art in different lenses. So I may not want to be a photographer, but I may want to look at how this same conversation can take place in other mediums, and it made me want to help. So just providing a platform for them to try something that maybe they've had an interest or an inkling in. Because what happened to your boy, I got to that last credit hour sitting there doing biochem, and because someone gave me that first opportunity, now I'm sitting in class typing emails and coming up with projects and writing songs, and all of them chemical equations was going in one ear and out the other. And I had a chance to stop myself from paying thousands of dollars and going in debt to do something that I probably would have figured out 4 years down the road that I didn't want to do. And I'd have been too late. Gotcha. So we're trying to catch people way early in their stages and paths of life, so that they can know that this is possible for themselves.
Now, I know you spoke about shows, so we're gonna transition to some shows.
Hit me, man.
Real shows, man. I heard y'all get down.
Man,
y'all have lots of fun.
Yeah.
So tell me about these pole classes, man.
Man, I'm so glad.
Pole parties.
I'm gonna transition into a great idea, right, of how we got here. So the perfect example of what we do is that came from a project we did with the Regenerate Society. So basically my girl, right, Shalika, she was trying to find a version of fitness that would just work for her. It was COVID, so everybody's in the house, right? And she's done the workouts, like she's done like running, she's done X, Y, and Z, but some of them kind of went, some of them kind of left. So she was like, hey, I really think I would like to try this. I think it'll work. I'm like, okay, whatever you say. I'm more of a consistency. I don't really care what you're doing. I'm like, as long as you be consistent.
Be consistent.
And she did it. She dropped 30 pounds.
Dang. How long did it take her to drop 30 pounds?
6 months.
Shit.
That's not bad at all.
From the time she got it in the summer. No, I take that back. It wasn't 6. It was probably like 4, because she got it over the summer, and by her time her birthday came in October, she was 30 pounds down. So probably like 4-ish, right? Combine that with like some good dieting, but she just fell in love with it. And what was the most interesting thing about that whole thing was that she had posted on social media like 3 months later that she started, and she was like, hey, like I've had some just life-changing experiences through this. She wasn't stripping, she wasn't doing nothing like that.
It's just a pole.
It was just, you know what I'm saying, just her dancing, right? If you go to her page at Soccer.spins, y'all should go to her page.
Soccer.spins.
You know what I'm saying? If you go to her page, you just see like just her in her just own like space, well, her friends and the people who were connected to her at that time, because that wasn't, I don't think, her page at the time, it was just her main like photography page. So many different ideas, right? You had one person that was like, man, ha ha ha, girl, that's fantastic, I'm so proud of you, couldn't be me. And I'm just like, well, okay, why couldn't it have been you? What you trying to say? Like, well, what's the kind of work with? We didn't take it personal. It was just really interesting. Or you had the guys who had always followed her, and now they're unfollowing her. It's not it's the opposite.
Oh, they stopped following her.
They stopped following her because now it's like, I don't even know if I can view this because of how they look at people on a pole, right? There's naturally like a sexual energy that men just gravitate to. And
even though it's fitness, though.
These are people who are married, unfollowing that we know personally, you know what I'm saying? So it created such a friction that we was like, what if we did a project about this? What if we did a whole healthy wellness project highlighting some of the stigmas behind people who really do this life? Because if you did this in your own home and somebody experienced this, imagine what these girls that are at Palace, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or like just these clubs, right? The Furnace, all of them are experiencing in their day-to-day lives, just trying to make some bread. So it started and it became a 30-day project called Stripped. was called Stripped, a Women's Month project. And what we were looking to do is, with RS, we always want to just have the conversation, right? Our goal was to really highlight conversations about the church and pole dancing and why the two can't come together.
That's deep.
So that's what we did, right? And so we were looking for a pole dance studio we were looking for a pole dance studio that would host the project, to where, one, we always feel like it's hard for you to judge what we do if you've never tried it. So we're not trying to get you to strip or do nothing else like that. We just want you to come to the event, try a class for the first time, see how difficult it really is for everybody who want to judge.
Church members.
And then and then have conversation afterward with those who are not only teaching it, but also those who are in the pole community who can come out and share their experiences. So at least maybe y'all can find some type of common ground in that space. Yeah. And so that's where we connected with PYT. Because we was at Empire, and shout out to Empire because they let us in, and we may have been a little younger, but shout out to Empire because they let us in. And we were just talking to the girls like, hey, what's this like for you? You know what I'm saying? A lot of them will say the same stories. Like, yo, I'm just trying to pay my way through college. I'm just trying to do X, Y, and Z. Like, I'm just trying to make a couple cash to pay a couple bills. Some of them like, yo, I just love this life. You know what I'm saying? And so we were able to get so many different stories. We had a full hour-long conversation with Lala Dior. I don't know if y'all are very familiar with her.
I heard of her.
Yo, one of the dopest dancers ever. Like, she got an opportunity to sit down with us and tell her whole story.
She danced with, she was a backup dancer for Janet Jackson, right?
Yeah, well, she started at Blue Onyx. She
dark
started,
skin, long hair.
Yeah.
Damn, I do know her.
She started.
She cool as hell, man.
She started doing pole dancing.
She's cool as hell, dog.
Crazy, and to see her go on and perform with Janet Jackson and everything else, her story is just so dope. So you just never know who you kind of judging in them spaces. So we wanted to highlight and capture that. And so from there, connected with Nia Jackson from PYT. Shout out to her. She is fantastic and phenomenal. Who, I mean, pole dance legend, was doing this literally since 2009. And so sure enough, Shalika was like, I like this. She says, hey, I want to bring you on. And it turned into what PYT does now. They have some staff showcases. And so now naturally RS and PYT have like a relationship to where, because we heard them stories and saw them girls and do what we do, now we're just very supportive of it. And they do the showcases like every other quarter, right? Or every quarter. Dope. And so we just go out and show love. You know what I'm saying? And just connect it.
So where does the church part come in? Like, y'all reading Bible verses, doing the stripping? I mean,
no, you good. No, go do your thing. So
when the next one?
It was. No, it really was. So like,
the next one.
All of our, I'm coming to that for sure. All of our projects.
Don't skip over that.
No, you're good. All of our projects are biblical based. So like, for us to even start this project, we pulled it from Joshua 2. Right. So as Joshua's king, what's really interesting is that he sends 2 spies to go check out the land before he enters that town, right? So there's a lady named Rahab who is working at a brothel because, of course, naturally she's a prostitute. But what is most interesting is that naturally, if those 2 spies had judged her for who she was, they probably would not have been alive to be able to radio back, and not radio, right? But tell the king what was going on. Yeah. She actually hid them in that brothel and said, hey, when, literally could have cost her life. People were coming, the guards were coming. Where are these 2 individuals? We know they're here. We're like, we know for a fact they're not here. And then they believed them. And naturally, like, it's a brothel. Why would the king of, why would 2 individuals who are supporting just God himself and proclaiming this level of Christianity in this space be hiding in a brothel? It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So we wanted to highlight how positioning sometimes can tell a story that's bigger than most, because you'll judge somebody for who they are, but God may have them positioned for something that's bigger than you. So the church aspect is bringing people together in that space to hear stories and learn. Maybe, you know what, you want to judge, find out why they do this in the first place. Have a chance to talk, because sometimes that's the most pushed away place for somebody to be. And it's very uncomfortable when they talk to them. It's like, I'm not going to that church because they're going to judge me. And most of they men I'm just looking at the night before anyway.
What?
So you see what I'm saying? It's like conversations like that, to where it's like, yo, if y'all just come to the same space, a church door may be a little more open, because now at least I've had a conversation with you and I understand you a little better. So I'm not going to judge. I might invite you with me. And I might trust you because you gave this a shot and came into my world instead of judging me for not letting me come into that one. So yeah, stuff like showcases. I always invite people out, and the next one's December 10th.
I'm there.
You should come on out. You feel me?
So as soon as you said that, man, I made sure to put it on my calendar.
Look, December 10th, y'all follow at PYT Studio. Come out to the showcase. Bring ones, because them girls gonna go crazy. It's the last one. It's gonna be a great time. Don't think about what you think it is, because it's not. It's gonna be a great time in the community, and them girls, they work their tail off.
Man, that Halloween edition was dope,
bro.
Bro, Halloween was crazy work. Crazy work.
You know, they had the costumes on and pole dancing.
Yeah,
and you said this the last one?
It's their last one.
Sadly,
PYT
man.
is closing.
And why they stopping it again?
That's a good question, honestly. You really got to ask, like,
I really think social media is probably just eating everything up, man.
It is. It's a hard look, man. Businesses are businesses, right? So for the reasons they closing, the reason why they closing, but at the same time, that also means this your last shot. Take a class while you get a chance. Come have some of the best time in your life. Like, these ladies are leaving completely different than how they started, right? I had a friend that started in March. By the time it was April, she was turning flips. Like, you can learn so fast. And the community of it's just so cool. Like, being able to just talk, mix and mingle, and be in a space where they're so supportive of each other. One of them has gone on to do pageants. I mean, she was already doing pageants, but, like, now she's transitioned from one studio to this one, and it's going on. And literally, like, one of the first black pole dancers to actually do a Miss Black USA pageant. Like, it's crazy stuff here, man, to where just the community of it's really dope. So, yeah, man, you know, I'm repping the team, man. That's what we do, man. You know, shout out to Black and Green. I don't know how we got here.
Cam in the building, man.
Big Wescam in the building, man.
You know it.
A whole lot of gems, man.
Ain't gonna lie.
I feel like a dang scientist having to, you know, create the formulas to everything that you just said.
Thank you. Thank you, man. It's, bro, I live a wild life. I go from having conversations with city councilors to conversations with pole dancers, and it's one of the most interesting dynamics you kind of got to prepare for.
I wish we had more time, man. I definitely get into that city council and the politics. I love to hear about that, man.
It's fun.
We got to bring you back.
You feel me?
We definitely got to bring you back, man.
You got
Wescam,
to.
man.
You got to.
Thanks for regenerating the society and the world, man.
Always, man.
What type of advice could you give to people?
Ooh,
any type of advice, you know?
Yeah, no. Trust your instinct. Trust your instinct. Like, for me, I always say this. I feel like I may not have been the most prepared, but I was just the most present. Like,
you just showed up.
I just show up. Show up. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to talk to. You never know, like, just sometimes your effort, like, God can take a mustard seed and make a tree. So sometimes if you just are in the room, you never know how it's going to work. You may meet somebody, you may meet nobody, but you also may put yourself in a position to learn something new. So I'm always going to say, just show up, be present, and just trust your instinct. If something's telling you not to go, then don't go. You know what I'm saying? Figure out what it is and figure out why it told you that, more importantly. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's always my biggest question, because I'm in that space with music right now, so I'm trying to figure out what to do with that sometimes. But just trust it. It's always where it got me here, and I didn't know I was going to be here. So sometimes my best advice.
Fast, man. Ladies and gentlemen, there go Cam.
Hit that like button right now. Comment. Share your thoughts about what this man just shared with y'all, man. We got to let y'all know we got more stuff coming up. Polar Jocks, Icebreakers, man. Happy holidays.
And we go.